Could success become your greatest prison? For many, the idea of reaching the top is associated with freedom, recognition, and respect. However, once there, a disturbing question arises. Could it be that by achieving success, we are simply creating a new form of captivity, where expectation, fear, and constant pressure begin to consume us? The danger of getting lost in one's own success is real. Often, what begins as a legitimate goal of personal and professional growth ends up becoming trap, where the search for external recognition overshadows our true essence. In this scenario, we are like prisoners of an identity constructed not by our choices, but by the expectations of the world around us. Stoic philosophy, which has stood the test of time, offers a path to avoid this abyss. The great Stoics, such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, teach us that external success, however desired, should not be the center of our lives. True peace and balance come from within, not from factors that can be fickle or fleeting. What we need, therefore, is not more success, but more serenity to deal with it. We will explore the mental traps that arise with success, the paradoxes it imposes on our development, and how the lessons of the great Stoics can help us maintain balance. The proposal here is not only to reflect on success, but also to learn how to use it as a tool for self-development, without giving in to the temptation of being consumed by it. We will discover together how to transform our perspective on success and build a more authentic and balanced life, far from external pressures and internal traps. The incessant search for external approval is one of the most subtle but devastating traps that success can bring. When we reach a certain level of success, whether professional, social, or personal, an external expectation begins to form around us. What began as a desire for achievement and growth can quickly turn into a need for continuous validation. This addiction to recognition from others creates a fragile identity, dependent on the gaze of others to define one's own worth. The problem begins to emerge when we begin to measure our self-esteem and personal fulfillment by external criteria. How many of us have found ourselves seeking approval on social media, in the applause of our audience, or even in the recognition of work colleagues? When this happens, our essence begins to be shaped by something that is beyond our control, and we become vulnerable to the fluctuations of the outside world. The search for validation becomes an invisible prison, where we are prisoners of what others expect of us. There are countless examples of public figures who lost their essence throughout their careers. Many artists, athletes, and business people, upon reaching the height of their success, revealed in interviews or in biographies that they felt lost or empty, because the search for external approval had eclipsed their authenticity. The image projected to the world no longer corresponded to who they really were inside. Success, which should be a reflection of their effort and purpose, has become a burden that distances them from their true identity. For the Stoics, this type of constant search for external validation is a fundamental error. They believed that true happiness and serenity cannot be found in external factors, such as fame or fortune, but rather in peace of mind and control over our reactions to the world. The concept of ataraxia, inner serenity, is central to Stoic philosophy. It is the ability to maintain inner peace regardless of external circumstances, whether at the height of success or in adversity. A practical tip to avoid falling into this error is to perform a daily check-in with yourself. Ask yourself, am I doing this for myself, for my principles, or am I seeking the approval of others? This simple exercise of reflection can help us become aware of our motivations and adjust our behavior, moving away from the trap of external validation. Behind the relentless search for external validation lies a deep, often invisible root: the fear of becoming irrelevant. This fear can be powerful, capable of generating self-destructive behaviors and distorting our perception of what is truly important in life. As we achieve success, many people face a growing sense that if they do not maintain their status or recognition, they will quickly be forgotten or discarded. This fear of losing relevance manifests itself in desperate attempts to maintain the public image or success achieved, often at the expense of our true essence. This drive is largely fueled by insecurity. The desire to stay on top comes not only from healthy ambition, but from the feeling that without it, we will be insignificant. For many, the idea of being forgotten, of losing attention and prestige, is one of the worst emotional threats. This is reflected in the existential crises that many famous and successful people face, especially after reaching the peak of their careers. Examples of this are common among athletes and artists, who often experience a loss of identity after the peak of their fame. Great sports stars, for example, have their relevance constantly questioned when they are no longer competing or achieving their previous records. Likewise, artists who reach the peak of their popularity often enter a deep crisis of identity, when the cycle of success ends and what is left is a void that is difficult to fill. These situations often happen because the identity of these people was built on the need to be recognized, and not on their true essence. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus would argue that true freedom comes from recognizing the impermanence of external things. The concept of memento mori, or the constant reminder of death, helps us understand that life is fleeting and that our quest for recognition cannot be the basis for our happiness. The fear of losing relevance disappears when we understand that, ultimately, death is the great equalizer, and nothing in the material world is lasting. By meditating on the finiteness of life, the Stoics invite us to reflect on what truly matters, and to cultivate an existence focused on virtue, self-development, and serenity, rather than the relentless pursuit of status or recognition. A powerful practice for dealing with this fear of irrelevance is daily reflection on impermanence. Ask yourself, what if everything I have achieved were to disappear tomorrow? What would be left of me? This reflection is not meant to create anxiety, but to free us from excessive attachment to external outcomes. It helps us realize that our true significance lies not in material achievements, but in the inner journey, in constant growth, and in the pursuit of a greater purpose. Success is often seen as the culmination of our efforts, the ultimate prize that justifies all the hard work. However, there is a profound paradox that few realize. Success can actually be an obstacle to continued growth. When we reach a certain level of success, we often experience a sense of comfort and stability. This comfort, however desirable, can cause us to let our guard down, fall into the trap of complacency, and lose the drive to continue evolving. The idea that success guarantees us eternal satisfaction and puts us in a privileged position for continued growth is misleading. Achieving something we have always wanted, be it an award, a promotion, or a personal goal, can paradoxically reduce our motivation to strive for more. The fire that once drove us to overcome challenges and constantly learn begins to fade, replaced by the feeling that we have already made it. Success thus becomes a comfort zone that limits our ability to go further, to explore new possibilities, and to continue to evolve. This paradox is what Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, pointed out so clearly. Difficulties strengthen the mind just as work strengthens the body. When everything becomes easy, when success is achieved and there are no more challenges in sight, our mind begins to weaken. We are no longer being tested, and as a result, we lose the resilience needed to continue to grow. It is discomfort and challenges that shape us, forcing us to develop new skills, to step out of our comfort zone, and to always seek improvement. Success, without a constant source of new challenges, can leave us stagnant. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Roman emperors and a renowned Stoic, is an example of how to remain humble and focused, even in a position of maximum power. Even as the emperor of the Roman Empire, Marcus Aurelius knew that success and power were not ends in themselves. He dedicated himself to practices of self-knowledge and constant reflection, seeking to keep his mind sharp and his virtue intact, without allowing himself to be seduced by the comfort that his position of power provided him. Humility in the face of success and the willingness to continue challenging himself and learning were fundamental to his being able to govern with wisdom and integrity. To deal with the paradox of success, The Stoics offer us a practice called voluntary discomfort. This involves intentionally seeking out situations that challenge us and take us out of our comfort zone. It can be as simple as giving up some of our daily comforts or taking on a new challenge that demands more of us. By consciously choosing to face difficulties, we keep our minds alert and our resilience constantly growing. A practical tip for avoiding the paradox of success is to create goals that involve ongoing challenges, rather than just end results. By focusing on the process and ongoing learning, rather than just celebrating the outcome, we ensure that our growth never stops. This keeps us moving forward, always seeking new horizons. The great Stoic philosophers, such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, were keenly aware of the dangers of success and power. For them, the true measure of a man was not the position he attained or the recognition he received, but his ability to maintain integrity, virtue, and inner serenity, regardless of external circumstances. They understood that the pursuit of success, when left unchecked, could easily become a burden, a chain that trapped us in an endless cycle of anxiety and dissatisfaction. Seneca, for example, wrote that it is not what happens to us that brings us down, but how we react to what happens. He warns us against the illusion that external success is the key to our happiness. If our inner peace depends exclusively on factors beyond our control, we are condemned to a life of constant emotional fluctuation. True power, he said, comes from within, from our ability to remain calm even in the face of the greatest adversity, and from our ability to act according to our principles, regardless of external approval. Epictetus, another great Stoic teacher, took this idea even further when he stated that it is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. For Epictetus, the incessant desire for recognition was an illusion. True power lies in our ability to discern what is within our control and what is not. Recognition, success, and fame are beyond our control, but our response to them is always within our reach. Serenity arises when we stop seeking external validation and instead seek true wisdom within. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, embodied these lessons in his own life. Even as emperor of Rome, he maintained a daily practice of self-criticism and reflection, writing in his Pensées that the greatest power lies in the discipline of the spirit. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that external power was fleeting, and that, however important it was to the administration of the empire, it should never replace personal virtue. He practiced humility and moderation, recognizing that material success and fame were only temporary circumstances, not the measure of his true greatness. These teachings are a way to avoid the trap of success that can consume us. For the Stoics, true greatness lies not in recognition or social status, but in our ability to maintain our inner peace, act virtuously, and live according to our principles, regardless of what the world expects of us. One practice we can adopt to maintain authenticity in a world obsessed with success is the inner journey. This involves a daily self-assessment, where we reflect on our actions, our intentions, and our emotions. Ask yourself every day, am I being true to my principles? Am I pursuing this goal out of a genuine desire to grow, or am I just trying to please others? This exercise in constant reflection helps us stay grounded in our true essence, even when success tries to lead us astray. One of the more subtle traps of success is the tendency to confuse achieving goals with truly evolving as a person. Too often we focus so much on the end result, the award, the promotion, the recognition, that we lose sight of the true purpose behind these achievements: continued growth and personal development. When we do this, we run the risk of turning success into an end in itself, rather than using it as a means to a greater journey of self-improvement. This confusion between results and progress is harmful, because it leads to the illusion that once we reach a goal, we have reached the end of our development. However, true personal evolution never has an endpoint. There is always more to learn, more to improve, more challenges to face. When we focus solely on achieving a goal, we can miss the opportunity to grow along the way. An excessive focus on results blinds us to the value of the journey itself and the transformation that occurs along the way. The Stoics warn us against this error by teaching us that true excellence lies not in achieving specific results, but in acting based on solid principles, regardless of the outcome. Seneca, for example, emphasized that we should not focus on results, but rather on our attitude toward challenges. He said that, "It is not what happens that matters, but how you react to what happens." The quality of our actions, our commitment to our values, is what defines progress, not the external reward we receive for them. The Stoic practice of acting according to principles without attachment to the outcome helps us overcome this mental trap. Instead of focusing on achieving a specific goal, we should focus on how we are behaving in the process. Are we being true to ourselves? Are we doing the best we can, regardless of external recognition or rewards? This shift in focus allows us to realize that true progress occurs with each step along the journey, not just when we reach the end goal. Practical tip for dealing with this trap is to set process goals rather than purely outcome-based goals. Instead of setting a goal like earn a promotion or achieve an award, set goals that involve ongoing behaviors or improvements. For example, improve my communication skills, or develop a daily reflection practice. By focusing on continuous progress and constant improvement, regardless of the outcome, you ensure that you are always moving forward, even when the results don't come immediately. Nothing we achieve is truly permanent. Success, wealth, recognition, and even the people around us are fleeting, and the realization of this can be both painful and liberating. We live in a society that values stability, status, and the relentless pursuit of more. But one of the most powerful lessons we can learn is that success, however glorious it may be in the moment, is temporary. This transience is inevitable, and accepting it can bring unexpected freedom. The great truth that many avoid facing is that success can be a test of our resilience and our ability to remain humble. When we achieve what we desire, we often fall into the illusion that this state of success will last forever. But as any Stoic would tell us, success is only part of the journey. Everything we achieve, no matter how important it may seem now, eventually fades away, whether through external circumstances or the nature of time itself. Rather than clinging to this success, we can use it as an opportunity to free ourselves from the fear of loss. The concept of negative visualization, a Stoic practice, invites us to imagine losing everything we have, our achievements, our possessions, our reputation. By reflecting on this possibility, we can realize that our happiness and our meaning in life should not depend on these external things. Negative visualization is not a form of pessimism, but rather emotional preparation. It teaches us to recognize the impermanence of life and to focus on what really matters, the development of our virtue, our inner peace, and our purpose, which are immune to the wear and tear of time. By imagining losing everything, we gain clarity about what truly endures. The true relevance lies not in accumulating possessions or winning titles, but in how we relate to what is deepest and most enduring within ourselves. Success is fleeting, but our ability to live authentically and peacefully is something we can cultivate every day. As difficult as it may be to accept, success is an opportunity to test our resilience and our ability to keep our feet on the ground. The true goal of life, for the Stoics, is not to achieve success and maintain it, but to know how to deal with the transience of that success in a wise and serene way. Success, when viewed as a goal to be achieved, can easily become a prison that prevents us from moving forward. Throughout this journey, we have seen that the real challenge is not just in achieving something, but in not losing ourselves along the way. Success can be a mental trap, especially when we seek external validation or become too attached to results. True greatness, as the Stoics taught us, lies in balancing our external achievements with an unshakable inner peace, cultivating virtue and serenity, regardless of what the world throws at us. By learning from great philosophers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, we understand that the key to living well is not in accumulating successes, but in living with intention, maintaining our authenticity, and focusing on continuous development. The concept of memento mori and the practice of negative visualization free us from the prison of fear of losing what we have achieved. Embracing impermanence allows us to live more fully, without the constant pressure to achieve more and more, simply because we want to, but because we need to connect with what is truly meaningful. The central idea here is that success is not the end of the journey, but part of the process. Our true relevance does not come from what we achieve, but from how we stay true to ourselves and our principles throughout the journey. As the famous saying goes, be great on the inside, even if no one sees. Success may be visible to the world, but balance, serenity, and true growth happen behind the scenes, where we cultivate our essence and maintain our integrity. As you reflect on your own path, think about what really matters to you. Don't let yourself be carried away by external pressure to always be more, achieve more, and conquer more. Remember that the true journey is not about reaching the top, but about continuing to grow as we go, staying centered in who we truly are and the principles that guide us. And finally, if there is one thing we can take away from this reflection, it is that success does not define us. What really defines us is how we remain faithful to our purpose and how we manage to find inner peace, regardless of the twists and turns that life takes.